Hello, everybody. Welcome to this DMU live stream. We're so glad that you could join us from all over the world to hear more about DMU and our faculty in particular. My name is Sarah Jones. I'm Deputy Dean in the Faculty of Computing, Engineering and Media. I'm so excited that we also have two of our postgrad students or recent students joining us, Phil and Saeed. And then together over the next 40 minutes or so, we hope to give you lots of information about our faculty, about studying at DMU, about Leicester, about our offer for postgraduate and international students. So hopefully we'll be able to give you all that information. But as with any live stream, you can, of course, interact with us, and we want you to interact with us. If you look on the screen, you'll be able to drop us a comment or a question in the chat box. So just click it open and chat away, and we'll come to those as they come in, and we'll be able to answer any questions at the end. To get you started and to make sure that we don't think we're the only ones talking here on our screens, it'd be really, really great if you can pop in your name, maybe where you are at the moment, and the course that you're interested in. Somebody earlier was on a call and they told me to pop in the emoji that best represents my day. So that's a good one as well. So maybe you want to pop in an emoji that really tells us about what you've been doing today so far. So please do take that time right now and then sit back and listen. So first of all, I'm going to get everyone to introduce themselves. Like I said, I'm Sarah. I'm Deputy Dean in our faculty. Philip, do you want to go first? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you were studying.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me. My name's Philip. I'm originally from Leicester. I am a bachelor's and postgraduate graduate in film studies. I had 3 years studying film, and then I went on to do the international film production course here at DMU, and I graduated from that May of last year is when my course finished, and kept in contact with you guys at DMU and my tutors ever since. So yeah, that's who I am.
We really like to do that. We want to make sure that once you've started, once you've become a DMU student, you never really leave, which is really, really great. So it's great to have you back as well. And I'm sure we'll be able to hear a lot about your experiences, both through undergrad and through postgrad.
Yeah.
Saeed, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm Saeed from Nigeria. I'm an international student. I'm doing my postgraduate studies in intelligence systems and robotics. So far, I've really had a nice time at DMU, and I'm looking forward to going for my PhD here at DMU because of the nice time I have. It's really a fun place to be in.
Like I said, once you start, we never let you go. So that's great to hear as well. And how long have you been at DMU, Saeed?
Yeah, I started last year. Yeah, and ever since I've really had a nice time. The faculty is amazing, the facilities, the lecturers, everybody is accommodated, not just at DMU, but in the whole of Leicester.
Love that. That just makes me really, really happy to hear. And it's a perfect segue as well into some information about our faculty. As you said, the facilities and our staff are great. So I'm just going to call up a slideshow and then just take everybody that's watching through a little bit of a journey about our faculty. I like to say our faculty is all about curiosity because it is a diverse faculty. Within our faculty, we have 3 schools. So we have the School of Computer Science and Informatics, where Saeed's from. We have the School of Engineering and Sustainable Development. And then we have the Leicester Media School, which was where Philip was based. So 3 quite diverse and quite distinct schools. But what that common theme is that runs through them, for me, is all about curiosity. It's about asking those questions. It's about thinking about the future. How might we operate in the future? What technologies might we use? How might we tell stories? How might we build things? How might we build things sustainably as well? So really interesting combination of subjects, which is shown a lot in the work that we do. We go on to the next slide and you'll see a lot around the qualities of the faculty. Amal, if we could just skip the next slide, if that's okay. Perfect. And this kind of outlines a bit around our research culture. And particularly for postgraduate students, it's really important that you kind of have that awareness of the research culture. We are very recognised for this. We have great international research and also a real growing community of postgraduate students. Students like Saeed saying he's already got his eye on doing a PhD with us. So working to really answer those big questions going forward and finding new knowledge. We have great success in research grant income. So we bring in a lot of money. We're awarded a lot of money to really interrogate these problems. And we also published extensively as well. Our real focus is on working to resolve the world's biggest challenges. And as we get onto it, we'll hear a little bit more about some of those things that we go through and the questions that we're answering. A few other examples, if we move on to the next slide, where you get to see about that research impact. And the next two slides will give you some examples of this. There may be some of you interested in cybersecurity, in which case you'll be very pleased to hear, as I am, that we were named a gold standard academic centre of excellence for cybersecurity. And that was by the National Cybersecurity Centre, which is part of the government's GCHQ. We were the first university in our area to achieve this prestigious status. It is something that we're really proud of, and is really reflected in the work that we do. We're also ranked very, very highly across other institutions across the world in computer science, engineering and technology, particularly with those computer science courses, rated 4th in the UK for citations. And then many of our projects are global too. We have a great partnership in engineering, which is really helping foster innovation and entrepreneurship across the sub-Saharan Africa and energy sector. And that work is impacted in the students as well. And I always talk about our Engineers Without Borders, which is a really, really incredible scheme, which our students all take part in. And they work to come up with solutions for different challenges every year. Last year, we came second across nearly 1,000 entries, something again that we're really proud of. But I think most importantly, it's showing that our students have that real world impact in the work that they're doing. And that's right from undergrad to postgrad to our research and our PhD students too. On the next slide, you'll see some more information about our researchers and the impact that we have, whether it's from working with the World Health Organization or government qualities, government committees. So lots of different impact that our staff are having, which is then all really important for our students. You know that you're learning something relevant, something really important, and something that is having great impact. The next picture really shows, on the next slide, really shows that diversity across our schools. We've got racing cars, we've got studios, we've got gaming suites. And I'm sure Saeed as well, as Philip will talk a bit later about some of our facilities. We do have great facilities and they're spread all over campus, which is quite interesting. We're not a huge campus, I don't think, and we are spread around it. And we have some great buildings, some really great facilities for our students to use. So hopefully we'll be welcoming you soon and you'll be able to see all of that. We go on to the next slide, and I'm going to touch briefly on our new approach to teaching and learning. Teaching excellence is really important to DMU, making sure that our students are working, having relevant teaching, that we're looking out for their best interests, and we're making sure that you succeed in your time at DMU. So with that, we've been reframing our offer, and we've been looking at how we can teach in different ways. This will impact students at different times. So if you are looking at postgraduate entry and you're starting this September, it won't impact you. If you're looking and you're preparing ahead, it will have an impact from next year. Basically, our teaching is changing, and we're taking on something called the block approach, where students study one module at a time. So rather than juggling 3 or 4 modules, you'll be working on one, completing that module and the assessment, and then moving on to the next module. It's something that we've developed after really extensive feedback from our current students and our prospective students. And it's something that will really help students manage their learning in your ever increasingly busy and complex lives. So there's more information about that on the website, and it'll be worth checking in with that to see when it might impact you. If we skip the next slide, and then we can go on to a bit more. If we go on to the next one, please, about our faculty and the makeup. And this is really interesting, I think, when we have a look at the size of our faculty. And it is quite big. We have more than 5,500 students in the faculty, and that's quite evenly spaced amongst the 3 schools, computing, engineering and media. We have around 4,500 undergrad students, so students studying at an undergrad level, and then nearly 1,000 postgraduate taught students. So there are master's students, of which a lot of you may be. And then we have close to 200 research students. So those research students are studying generally for a PhD, a doctorate, and engaging in some of those projects that I mentioned earlier. If we go on to the next slide, and I want to spend a little bit of time now thinking about what happens when you finish. When we bring in Philip and Saeed, they might want to talk a bit more around the careers and employability support that they had. Already we know Saeed is wanting to stay to do his PhD. Philip carried on from his undergrad to his postgrad. But there is a lot of support for you in your time at DMU when you're thinking about what it is you might want to do. And it's really important that you do start those conversations early on. And it's really important as well that you take advantage of everything that DMU Works has to offer. There's lots of information on the screen now around our careers service, what they do around offering one-to-one advice. They might be giving you employability skills, helping you search for jobs, the best places to be looking, or maybe you're a bit short on work experience and you might want to be getting additional skills to really help your applications as you go. The same goes for CV writing. And CV writing can be really, really challenging at times. So we offer those support people that will help you as you develop your CV. And the same goes for assessment centres and psychometric tests. A lot of that you need practice. You need to be able to have that experience. And our careers and employability service really help with that as well. There's lots of different networking events, particularly within our faculty. We have quite a number of societies as well related for networking, whether it's the racing, whether it's the media companies, the radio, gaming, various societies as well. But the career service also provides a lot of networking events to help you meet leading employers within the industry. On our next slide, there'll be some information about a placement year. So we'll skip that, I think, because I'm not sure if we'll apply much to this audience, but there is lots of information there on the website around our placement years. It is really important, that kind of experience that you get, whether it's short-term placements or work experience. And we do find a huge impact in success from our students that have gone on and taken up those work experience or short-term placements. On the next slide, you'll see a whole host of different companies where our students go and work. Many of them will probably be very familiar names, some of them not so much maybe, but I imagine a lot of them are, which is where some of our students are spending their time working. And then on the next slide, you will see some highlights of our students. I always think it's our students that really sell DMU the best. I can talk for ages about what a great faculty it is, and it really is a great faculty because of the staff, because of the facilities, but most of all because of our students. And you'll hear that firsthand in a minute from Philip and Saeed. But some of the students here on the screen are some of our success stories, and we can update this all the time. I could have hundreds of students on the screen, which is testament to how much success they have. You'll see Ben Bolton, who was studying cybersecurity. He came through clearing, so he came when he got his results. And he's led now to a job with Jaguar Land Rover, which is great. We've got other students who have secured jobs with Vodafone after studying mechanical engineering. And then Annie Green, who's one of the news editors at Sky News, probably quite busy at the moment. It's been a very busy time for the news industry, particularly over the last week. But she's come back to campus a number of times to talk about her experiences and to really help our students. On the next slide, you'll see some other industry partners and also accreditations. And this is particularly important for students. When you are choosing an institution, it can be really, really difficult looking for an institution, finding the right fit, the one that you feel is best for you. And it's often really important to have a look at things like accreditations and also partners. We work very, very closely with industry. And that's important for us for a number of reasons. One of them is making sure that our curriculum is relevant, our curriculum is right, that we're teaching the students everything that you need to ensure that you will be successful when you finish. So it's making sure that our teaching is spot on. And we do that through things like industry liaison committees, where we have boards of committee of industry representatives that come in and help look at our curriculum, that engage with us on developing new programs, new modules, and offering their insight. It's also really important to help you. A lot of the time students will come to us and they won't have that network. Why would you, of potential employers and people that you want to work with? So we work really closely with our partners to make sure that we can set up those networking events, give you the opportunities to hear directly from companies that you want to go and work for, get advice, make contacts, and things like that, which is why working with industry is so important. We also have a number of accredited courses, whether it's in computing, in media, or in engineering. Some of those are on the screen there. And that ensures as well a kind of kite mark, that benchmark of standard of quality that's really important for you to see as well. So on the final slide, and I'm hoping Philip and Saeed are going to answer this exactly perfectly for me when I bring them in next, is why would you want to come to our glorious Faculty of Computing, Engineering and Media? And it's for a whole number of reasons. We do have fantastic facilities and great staff as well. We have that focus on employability. We're all driven to create that positive outcome for all of our students. There's many international opportunities, but most of all, it is a really, really great student experience. I'm very, very lucky to work here and work with such great students. And there is so much that I'm sure they're all going to want to talk to you about now. So if I bring you in, Philip and Saeed, and I'd like to start by asking you why you wanted to apply to DMU for the course that you did and why you picked DMU. Philip, I'll start with you first.
For me personally, the course I applied for, international film production, it offered something that, as I'm currently aware of, no other university in the UK did, as where I was studying film for 3 years, and with the dream is, work in Hollywood or do something practical with film. And when I was researching what other universities, it seemed that a lot of them were primarily sort of theory and academic based. DMU, however, their postgraduate degree, their assessments were primarily practical based. So you worked on your own short film in a group or individually, or I had to resort to plan B because of COVID, but plan B was also writing your own feature-length script, which I did and I graduated with. So that course that DMU offered was, as far as I'm concerned, completely individual. And no argument about it, really. That was the only course I was interested in taking.
Okay, fantastic. And Saeed, how about yourself? You came here last year. Why did you choose DMU?
I think one of the main reasons why I choose DMU is actually because of the course. A lot of universities do offer intelligence systems, which is another name for artificial intelligence. But very few universities in the UK offer both artificial intelligence and robotics. And then that was one of the things that caught my attention with DMU. And then immediately after I started going through the modules, I started seeing the components of each module and how every module was delivered. And then that actually was the main things that got my attention with DMU, and then I kept going because I didn't, mostly if you're applying for universities in the UK, usually work with agents, but I didn't work with any agent at first. I was going through the courses and seeing all the modules, and I kept reading the success stories that is available fully on the website for anyone to check. And then that was, for me, I think those are the reasons why I chose DMU.
That's great, and so much so that you obviously want to stay with us a bit longer as well. I want to ask about the support. So I touched a little bit on things like careers and employability, but what kind of support have you received as say an international student for you, Saeed, and a postgraduate student? Can you tell us a bit about the support?
Oh, yeah, the support has been fantastic so far. All my lecturers so far have been very supportive. Each student, when you're at DMU, each student has a personal tutor. So I didn't even get my visa on time because there was delays in applying for the visa and getting my class. But as soon as I got to the UK, my first point of support was my personal tutor. He guided me and gave me instructions on how to adjust in the community. And then there was a time that I started, I had issues with ADHD, and then I discussed with the disability support community. And then so far, they've really guided me. And then the reason why I actually decided to go further and start considering a PhD, because I didn't even intend to consider a PhD until I got to DMU. It was a lecturer that I was discussing, and then I was explaining my idea of my dissertation, and he was like, "Oh, look, this is a very good idea. This is something that you can actually go further and try doing it in the PhD level." And then so far, he has guided me on the things that I would do that will help me secure funding for PhD. So yeah, the support system in DMU is very fantastic. Everybody is ready and willing to. I have had career support from Unitems and DMU Works. I have had a lot of support so far at DMU, and I'm really happy about that.
Great, that's really, really good to hear the support, but also the delays that you had with your CAS. And I know in the comments there's a few people talking about querying their CAS and that process. So if you are one of those, there's an email address in the chat. It's just on the screen as well now, admissions@dmu.ac.uk. So if you do reach out to them, they'll be able to help you with any queries around the CAS. I know it can be quite complicated. There can often be a number of delays, and it can be really difficult when you're waiting to hear. So I understand that. So do reach out to admissions@dmu.ac.uk, and they'll be able to help you. Philip, over to you, and can you tell us about the support? What kind of things really stood out to you being a student at DMU as a postgraduate student?
Well, I think I'll just echo what Saeed said. My tutors were an enormous help. I think I was an assigned a personal tutor, but as the course sort of went on, I felt completely comfortable not only going to one, but going to both of them, having whatever meetings or shared emails with them whenever I needed help with my work. When COVID hit halfway through my course, we were due to start filming a short film that I'd written. And of course, that put a stop to that. But as we went into lockdown, I still maintained a communication with both Reese and Rachel, my tutors on the course. And they were perfectly happy to have a Zoom call with me every few weeks and keep me updated with what was going on, or the changes in assessment that was going on, the latest communication. So the tutors, as far as I'm concerned, were like almost the best part of the courses, where they were there whenever I needed them, and they were able to offer help and answer any questions that I had at the time. You mentioned, I think, that the DMU Works, and that earlier. I remember getting after submitting my final assessment and thinking, right, that's sorted now. I can enjoy a beer and I can relax. But then the next day is like, oh, what do I do now? And I still ended up getting regular emails from DMU Works about courses that I could still sort of apply for and join, workshops. I do remember there was one that was in a partnership with Netflix and Sky that I applied for, and what they were looking for was just like an example of my work, and they provided like feedback they would invite you onto the writing team as well. It was something for me, like a postgraduate, it was almost like a dream. It's like, this is how I'm going to get into it. And I wouldn't have heard from that without the email from DMU Works. And I still get them now. And it's very interesting to see. It's like, DMU has this going on over there, and then I can email off over there as well. So yeah, it's a gold mine of information when that comes in.
Yeah, there is a lot of information and support, absolutely. What's been your best experience or the best opportunity? Philip, I'll ask you first.
Best experience. All right, two things. One was the guest speakers that we had come onto my course. I remember two. We had one guy who came in twice and another fellow who came in once. Was this one guy who he had said that his day job was working in a call center and doing making calls to people with his business, but then he decided he was tired of that and he wanted to do something different. So then he decided to getting into filming commercials and doing his own short films. So he got himself all the filming equipment, lighting equipment, and he came in with all of it that we got to have a go with. And we ended up like refilming a scene from The Matrix. I mean, it was insane. The other fella that we had in gave us sort of similar exercises in terms of like, how would you go about filming a commercial for DFS? How would you go into filming like this sort of gothic scene with the skull and stuff like that? So let's put our thinking hats on with that. So that was sort of really great interaction between people who are actually in the industry. Secondly, I think it was the sort of collaborative aspect as where, as I said, in the second semester, we had to film a short film with a script that one of us had written. And then it was left up to us to make. So we had to find actors and actresses. We had to find the location. DMU gave us a budget for the film as well. I think every student got £330 that we all pulled together to make the film. And then the final thing was that we would film a short film of our own, and we would use the people on our course to sort of help out with that. So it is a good sort of baptism of fire for what you would go on to do later on. So if there was any mistakes that you had to make, university is the time to make them. So then you can go into any field with complete confidence. So yeah, that was two of my best bits, I think, two of the highlights.
I say that a lot. University is the time to make all of those mistakes and to try and try new things, especially when there are so many other opportunities as well. So not just on your course, but try everything. Saeed, what about yourself? What's been your best experience so far?
Well, I think my best experience so far is I'm actually very interested and very excited about the entire artificial intelligence area. And then so far my best experience is related to a course module that I successfully carried out. The coursework, that is. So I was able to actually develop a simulation for a robot system to have it complete tasks that is required. So that was actually, it was 2 robots, not just one. Before coming to DMU, I had zero experience with simulation or anything that has to do with robotics. Although yes, I did have some programming background, but it wasn't that advanced. And now getting to DMU, I just saw myself, now I'm doing things that I never imagined that were possible. I never thought that I would be able to design a neural network, a working neural network with accuracy. I believe most artificial intelligence students would understand where I'm coming from. So right now I'm able to design neural networks. I can do, like for my master's project, I'm thinking of designing a convolutional neural network that is going to understand that will help an autonomous vehicle understand its environment, to map and localize itself in that environment. So these are so far exciting parts of being at DMU. I get to do things that I never thought I was able to do. It's kind of exciting for me too, because I came here for a purpose, and the main purpose is to understand the whole concept of AI, to understand the whole concept of robotics. And then look at me now, a few months down the line, I can successfully say that at some point, yes, I have better understanding of the entire AI and robotics field, and then I can actually do things that are related in the AI and robotics field that I feel that, yes, I am confident that if I should go into the market, I can actually market myself, and if I'm given any task, I feel that I can successfully carry out that task. So far, this is my exciting part of being at DMU.
That sounds great. I don't think I understand all of it, but it sounds absolutely incredible. And I know there's some computing and some artificial intelligence students, prospective students on the call who I'm sure will understand it all and really excited by it as well. Final question then, Saeed. What's the best bit of advice that you could give to a fellow international student ahead of them arriving in the UK?
Well, let's see. The best advice I'm going to give you is, I see a lot of people complaining about cars and not receiving their cars. Before I can advise you, I would like to let you know that that shouldn't be a problem. Yes, I understand the pressure of wanting to see that you've gotten your tax, because that's like 50% of getting your visa. But no matter what, that shouldn't bother you a lot, because there are procedures and places that will handle such situations. When you get to the UK, you would have there are a lot of support that you're going to need. There are a lot of, and another thing is that you should consider, as soon as you should consider joining the international community, because that will help you adjust in the environment. You're going to meet new people, and I can assure you that DMU is a welcoming environment. There's a lot of cultural diversity, not just DMU, but in Leicester in general. So that is, as long as an international student, you shouldn't worry about adjusting in DMU. There are a lot of procedures in place that will help you enjoy. So just take your time, do things one step at a time, and when you get to DNU, don't worry about the classes you've missed, the modules you've missed, which is another thing. If you feel you've missed a lot of classes in your module and you feel you cannot cover in time, don't ever worry about applying for deferral. That is one system that is going to really help you, and that has helped me so far. If you feel you're having issues in your modules, you're not understanding, it's a bit complex, you can defer your coursework. And when you defer your coursework, you get 6 months period to be able to complete your coursework. That would give you time to take the coursework one step at a time. That would give you time to be able to adjust in the community whilst trying to adjust with the modules and everything at the end.
That's great. Really helpful advice, Saeed, and good reflection on your own experiences. I'm sure will be really, really valuable to those on the call today. There's lots of questions around CASs, like I said, so do make sure you contact admissions at dmu.ac.uk. A few other questions around the fees and scholarships. Do look at our webpage, which details all of that, has all of the information that you need. That's on the international page, fees and scholarships and international scholarships. So do take a look at that page and you'll find lots of information. And if you've got any queries, inquiries about where you're up to, you can use our inquiry at dmu.ac.uk as well. Within the information that came out, there was lots of other things around events happening today and other ways that you can get information. So do check out that email where there will be lots of information then. So thank you for all of those questions. We will make sure that we put in the links and the answers in the chat for you. And thank you so much to Philip and Saeed for really having great insights, talking so well about your experience, why you came to DMU, and that crucial advice for the other international students who are looking at joining us, Saeed. So thank you very much for that. If we weren't able to answer your question live, do email us. Another email address for you. This one is chemmarketing@dmu.ac.uk. We'll pop it in the chat as well, and we'll get back to you if you've asked a question and we haven't got around to it today. It's on the screen at the moment, but we'll try and pop it into the chat as well. That's all we have time for today. I always tend to go on a little bit with these because I just want to carry on talking to our students and our alumni as well, and keep them talking. But I will draw it to a close now. Do stay online. As I said in the email for the day, there's other live streams coming up, and you can access those, and that will give you lots of other information about being a postgraduate student, about international student life, about finance, and all those other questions that you may have. So do stay online, and I'm sure we will see you in one of those other events later on today. So for now, thank you very much for joining us. A huge thanks to Saeed and Philip for their insights as well. So from all of us here at DMU, thank you very much. And we hope to see you in Leicester very, very soon. Thanks. Goodbye.